not to add additional costs after the fact. I mean, if it makes sense to do it now, that's the time to do it. But I guess there's a process that needs to take place from this point, and I guess we need to agree that there's some discussion that needs to be done on the city. The attorneys can have some discussion as far as what needs to be done, I guess, and you know, since it's in the village, of whether that means that it starts with Tom and then it goes to the city attorney or vice versa. I don't know if there's a procedure.
Well,
I've never been good on.
I think somebody would, you know, you could have proposals reading almost like what they've been doing in Congress, I guess, to get things meshed out, but, you know, somebody has a proposal, this is what we propose the agreement look like. And from what I'm referring to, the agreement goes to the board, and it's, and they approve of it. Basically, from what I see, the agreements are worked out before the petition's filed, and there's a petition filed.
Do we have to have a request from the homeowner in writing?
Well, you can have petition,
Because we've had verbal, but I don't.
you can have it just by municipal resolutions. I'm sure the landowner is gonna be asked, you know, whether they're in agreement that the municipal resolution is gonna be one start, petition of adjoining property owners, board initiation, which is the case here. So it could be municipal resolutions. I mean, your resolution would have to match, you wouldn't have competing resolutions.
No, I guess I've not had discussion with Sam since he was here. I don't know if you have any indication that there may be others that would want to get on the wagon at the same time? You know, year ends or, you know, because I have not had discussion with either of them as well, so. So Sam is the only property that we're discussing.
Others have stopped to just inquire what's going on, but no one has indicated a desire to move forward. And I think quite honestly, the reason they're not is because they all have options. And so their hardship is not borne by the same reasons, which is, I guess, the same thing in doing, you know, the theoretical situation. We talk about somebody leaving the city, whether they're leaving your city or our city. I think taxes would be a very poor public reason to do anything. It's good reasons for the homeowner, but politically, it's not the right thing you should be basing decisions on.
Yeah, well, I think we have to look at that, Wendy, and say, you know, our taxpayers would wonder why we're giving away property just as much you're gonna ask.
I'm not saying you shouldn't be compensated, Bill. I'm just saying, for us to take and kick one of our citizens out so they can have lower taxes would send a very poor signal to the rest of our residents. Then we might as well just give everybody to you, because they're all in the same
I don't
boat.
think we're suggesting that. I think they're just the realistic issue of saying, you know, I think it's reasonable to look at as part of the whole package that you ponder when you do this, going either direction.
And the question there was because they don't have services.
And that's where the compensation is a fair request, and I think it's spelled out in law that it recognizes that is a fair request in a detachment like this of annexation. The question is, what do you consider fair? I heard a number $400, I've heard 7 years. Is that the number that everyone's going
I
to
think we
live
put
with?
out a number of 7 years, and the taxes that were given to us for the county for 2009 were $447.43. Why don't we suggest this? Why don't we take and sit down with Tom and put a proposal together?
Maybe we need to get the letter first.
Get the letter from Mr. Stansgaard in writing that he wants to do this. Second, the village sit down with Tom, draft a proposal, work with Mr. Springer and the city. Because my thing is, we have to be worded basically the same if the commission's gonna look at them and not have a problem with them. So if those two things don't agree, that they're gonna ask a lot of questions, and that's not what we're gonna go to, I don't think, is kind of give them the same, so that
No, I think
we all
Mr.
agree
Mannion,
here, and they just do the paperwork and say, yes, we
Mr.
need.
Mannion is right. I think both resolutions, if I remember right, come to both boards. They should read identical so they're not competing,
Right.
and that they're synergistic and get the job done, and then that moves on to the next level.
So the first thing we need is a request from the homeowner in writing.
Yeah, let's get this moving forward.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know, is there a time frame? I don't know what it is.
Not
I'm assuming it's soon, but,
Well, I don't think for this particular.
no, but I mean, as far as the sewer water needs, I mean, I would guess there's a time frame that's probably relatively narrowing?
Did he say something about his?
Is he imminent public health?
No, I don't think that, I think it was time to make some decisions though. I think he
The
said-
contractor is moving, finishing up the current project they're on. They'd like to come down the hill, finish that one, and move then to Stevens Avenue. They feel this is a week-long project at best to accomplish. They can skip it and come back later.
Without an additional fee?
Their fee is set by the bid.
Okay, all right.
But it just makes it a little more awkward for them because of that. So the sooner we can do it, the better for them, and consequently better for the city.
What is this resident gonna cost the city?
What is this resident gonna cost the city?
Yeah, to provide him with sewer and water.
As far as the cost of the project?
Yeah.
Is there an assessment calculated on that?
The project cost is $65,000, and the total estimate for the city's share of that is $37,000, and the accessible portion is $27,600. At this point,
Sewer
it's
and water?
split amongst 3 homeowners.
That's sewer.
Correct.
And then the certification that the well would be capped, I assume is now your responsibility? I mean, because he does have a well now, I mean, that's gonna have to be, according to the department, it's gotta be sealed off, so that it's gonna be your responsibility to ensure that happens, as well as the old system.
So it's his responsibility to do when we inspect or.
Okay.
The cost to get that, that's his problem.
Right.
This one's done.
So, anyway, why don't,
So we don't want him.
well,
It's gonna cost us too much. You keep him. Keep $447 a year.
well, that's
You
not.
got him.
All right, well, that's fine.
We got an answer. What's the next question?
All right, so we
We got a
kind of,
process, we got a process now?
well, I think we're gonna wait for a letter of request, and I guess, if it's possible to get this all done before they move their equipment to another location, great. If they can't, then I guess as long as it's a bid and they would be willing to go back and do it, we're not like tying somebody's hands behind their back, so. All right.
Are you sure he didn't give a written thing years ago? Because he asked me about a long
He's
time.
been in front of the council personally,
Twice last
you know, he's appeared personally. I mean, that could be concerned, that's just showing a genuine interest, obviously, but a letter from him and his spouse probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
I just know he's out of town all week, so
Well,
you won't get it from him this week.
And I don't know if we should, I mean, we could start working.
yeah, I think his interest is there, but something in the file so we don't go to the point of an agreement and somehow somebody changes their mind.
Yeah, I just need that, that file, so.
I mean,
But this timeframe, when do you, like?
I think we could work.
I must be, what is the timeframe?
Well, the ideal timeframe would be, they believe they'd be ready to do that by the end of